What is going on, my beautiful people? It's your boy here, Wesley from A Connection TV on YouTube, Wes the Critic on YouTube, and WatchACTV.com, 3 places on the World Wide Web where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences. And I'm here to talk about episode 27 of Big Brother 23, Cookout Diaries number 2, because the rest of my videos are going to be called Cookout Diaries number 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. If this is your first time seeing me, definitely follow all my social media. All the links are right below. And go check out my miniature Netflix where I produce original scripted shows, cartoons, and things of the sort on WatchACTV.com. Now, I want to get into this because it is so good. It is so good. It is so good. I talked about it on my last video. And surprisingly, quite a few of you vibed with what I was saying. And not surprisingly, quite a few of you did not, giving Tiffany an excuse as to why she did what she did. But I have to say, I've been looking at a couple of other YouTube videos, like there are so many videos up there posting, you know, the live feeds or whatever. And the comments underneath this video, underneath those videos are like, oh, Tiffany deserves this. I don't know why she played the game that way. Oh, I can't stand Tiffany. Oh, such and such is biased or whatever. And then you have some people that are like, we love Tiffany, we love Tiffany. And you know what? It's amazing that there are other people out there that feel and think the way that I do. Because for a long time, you guys have not been vibing with me for the most part. So I was elated at that, to say the least. Hold on one second. Let's talk about it. So Tiffany puts up Alyssa and Xavier, and Alyssa and Xavier do a little dance in front of the, you know, the members block, the house guest wall or whatever, the wall with the pictures. We're on the block, we're on the block, So we get that. I thought that was cute. You know, Xavier's feeling some sort of way. Alyssa's feeling some sort of way. Alyssa's thinking like, oh, it only makes sense that me and Xavier is on the block because we're like the last main duel in the house and we're like the biggest competition. It's so amazing when people feel that they are the biggest competition when in actuality they're not, because they haven't been winning anything except for, you know, I think this is Alyssa's second veto win, right? I think it's her second or her third, but that's all she's been winning is vetoes. She's never won HOH. So Alyssa and X talk about winning veto. X says it's supposed to be Tiffany and Claire. X is really fuming in the beginning of this episode because it had been made or announced that Tiffany would not vie for HOH and that it would be her turn to go up on the block with Claire. And so, of course, in Tiffany fashion, she doesn't want to do that. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. She wants to go against what she said that she would do. And she decides that she's going to put Alyssa and Xavier up on the block because she believes that Alyssa's never going to win veto. And she's not going to have to see the block. And Claire's not going to have to see the block. And it is what it is. She was trying to keep her person in the game for a personal game. I ain't mad, but she should have never said that she would do the opposite and then go against that with the 6, right? So rightfully so, Xavier is in his feelings. I'm okay with it because this is the drama that we want to see on Big Brother, right? Tiffany doesn't want Alyssa to win, but she's going to anyway. Alyssa asks Derek to save her because she saved her. And Alyssa says that I'm not trying to give fake Kylan smiles. So this was a bit that I saw on the live feeds during this conversation where Alyssa made mention that it's very interesting that they're not putting this up on the live television. I see what CBS is doing. Okay, but that was the moment where they had this whole conversation about Alyssa admitting that if Claire goes home, they're the last people of color in the house. And you know, Big D gives this like obviously fake response, like, oh, no. What? And I was just like, oh my God, Big D, like, what are we talking about? But yet and still, Alyssa does not get it. And I really think it has everything to do with that coaching that they take before going in. This is an historical moment in Big Brother history where so many people of color are in here. And it's just people of color and jury, -2. Never happened before. And so, of course, the coaching that they take going into the house saying that they will not be presumptuous that people of like skin and like culture and all of that are banding together to do an alliance. And so I believe that their training has kept them from seeing the obvious. But they've had conversations where they see the obvious, except CBS is not showing those kind of conversations on live television. It's live in the live feeds, but we're only getting the Cliff Note version on live TV. So it's okay, I see what they're doing, it's fine. They don't want the conversation to be about that, and I get that, because I wouldn't want the conversation to be about that either. Yes. So I love the fact that Alyssa in this moment is not here for any of the faketry anymore. It's like down to the wire, and she doesn't want to give the fake Kylan smile anymore. She doesn't want to hug anybody. She doesn't want to do any of that. So I'm here for that. Derek and Xavier talk, and Xavier is saying that he will win the power of veto and take Alyssa off, forcing Tiffany to go against her game. And I'm in my mind like, I would never do something like that, but if someone suggested it to me, I'll be like, go ahead, Fred. Because I will, at this point, I will want to see her sweat. I would want to see her, like, you know what I'm saying? Because she made the bed, now she has to lie in it, and I do not feel bad for her at all in this moment. The only person that I feel bad for is Clear. That is it. Xavier is saying that he is tired of sacrificing his game for the cookout. I feel like he did not have to really sacrifice his game for the cookout. I feel like he could have played the way he wanted to play when he knew that the cookout was established. Like he could have kept winning and winning and winning. But there were HOHs that he legitimately was not winning. So it is what it is. Everybody had their shot at the HOH that Sarah Beth, when Kylan was the HOH before Sarah Beth won. So everybody had their shot at winning that. He just didn't win. So I don't really see that he sacrificed himself. Like, he sacrificed himself quite often, but I don't feel like he had to. In a lot of moments, he did not have to. That's just my thing. Oz and Big D are singing, and I loved this part where we get the BB soundtrack. I thought it was so dope. You know what? I don't recall really watching a Big Brother season where everyone genuinely loved each other. This has never happened. Never happened. And you know what? Even though the conversation, well, you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe the cookout did not destroy the future of Big Brother. Because I feel like the contestants that are going to apply for Big Brother now are going to open up, and I feel like CBS is going to pick better quality type people moving forward, because everyone, with the exception of a couple of choice things that people had to say that never made it to live TV, you know, i.e. egg roll, and i.e. you're not that dark skin or light brown skin, or whatever comment that Xavier made, stuff like that, making those kind of, well, I don't know, it's very iffy, because like he came down on homegirl Whitney for saying the egg roll comment, but then he's gonna say you're not dark enough, or so, whatever comment he made toward Alyssa, and then it was a joke. So I don't know. Overall though, throughout the entirety of the cast, there wasn't any like deep-rooted negative energy, you know, racist energy like that. Although, you know, the people of the cookout, namely Xavier and Big D, because they talk about it, don't think that what they're doing is racist, and they say to each other that if anybody sees it otherwise, then they can kiss their ass, or whatever the case may be. They're making history, they do what they have to do. And that their mission was not to make it seem like only black people could be a part of their alliance, even though that's exactly what it is. But their mission is to ensure that someone that is black wins. All of that is great. But still, in all actuality, okay, the way y'all are going about it is borderline racist. And you know, people say that, you know, black people cannot be racist because they're never put in a position of power to flex their power within regards to pushing their race forward until now. Because what they're doing, and I'm not saying that they're racist, I'm saying they're playing in the definition of what it actually is. Because they're putting their positioning themselves in power and utilizing their race as the foundational base to push people forward. So it is what it is. They may not feel like they're being racist. I don't feel like they're being racist, but there are a lot of people that may feel that way, and by design and definition of the word racism, that could play into it. It is what it is, but I'm here for it nonetheless. We're gonna have a black person win, hopefully. Let's hope, because you know, Alyssa might do some damage now. And you know, they have made mention in live feeds that Casey and Josh are not black. They don't have any black in them, and they don't. And I don't even respect how they won anyway. That's just, you know, Josh won because they didn't want the other person to win. And I think his name was like Benjamin or something like that. I can't remember the person he was sitting next to. But that's the only reason why he won, was because they didn't want the other guy to win, because the other guy was like a complete, like he lied to everybody. So it is what it is on that. Moving on along. So I was appreciative of the soundtrack because it was actually fun watching all the songs that they were doing. We get to the veto, and Xavier says he wants to pick Azza and Derek F because they're not gonna win. Isn't that horrible? But he's right, they're not. Zingbot is in the rafters. I guess he doesn't want to be, you know, worried about COVID or whatever, so he's away from them. Zing calls Alyssa dumb, and she didn't get it. She didn't get it, so much so that Zing had to clarify that. Zing says Xavier is self-absorbed. He's always looking at himself in the mirror, especially his buttocks. I thought he was gonna say Alyssa, I really did. But he didn't. Zing calls Tiffany old. Zing calls Claire Bigfoot. I thought he was gonna come for Big D. Zing calls Hannah Borzing. And I don't know, I disagree. Hannah's making a lot of moves, but because of what Zingbot said to her, she's being too extra for the sake of being too extra. You know, Zing calls Big D pointless. That's what I took from that. Zing calls Azza out about Xavier and the fact that they will never go on a date. I'm glad someone's telling her this. Zing tells Kylan to shut the F up. So about the whole Azza and Xavier, a lot of people are online saying that Xavier is chasing after Alyssa and Xavier is playing Azza. Well, in the Canadian Big Brother, there was a straight black man that played a gay black man and utilized his looks and our attraction toward the attraction that the gay black man had for the straight dude to make it to the end. And I think it was the straight guy that won. I could be wrong on who actually won, but that plays into Big Brother. You gotta flirt a little to get ahead a little. And unfortunately, Azza is gonna be that victim. I don't know why someone so beautiful is fawning over someone like that and then getting played and then not realizing that they're getting played, because Xavier does not want her. And he said it. Now, anyways, Alyssa wins veto and Xavier is geeking because he wants to see what Tiffany is going to do. And I will say this about Tiffany. Before I get there, Hannah tells Tiffany not to tell Claire about the cookout because it will jeopardize everybody else's game with regards to Alyssa or whatever the case may be. And instead of saying that you're in an alliance, just say you made a deal. And in saying that you made a deal with everybody that's in the cookout just means that you're in an alliance. That's how I would take it. But Hannah talks to X and Derek, and they say that it makes no sense because if she goes ahead and mentions everybody that's in the cookout about the deal, then she's going ahead and announcing everybody that's in the alliance. Tiffany talks to Claire, and I felt entirely bad for Claire, but in the video, it shows that Claire gets it. And she even admits it in her DR consultation or interview, that she gets that she's a part of an historical cast, and she's not mad at Claire for not wanting to send out a black person. And this was the first time that she actually said it out loud, you know? And I was like, okay, that's dope that Claire understands the mission. But what really teed me off with Tiffany is that Tiffany said that my goal is to never lie to you. This is what she's saying to her face. My goal is to never lie to you. And then in that same instance, right after, she lies to her because Claire says, "Are you in an alliance with them?" And Tiffany's beat takes a beat for a moment, and then says, "No, I just want for my personal gain." That's where she screwed up. But I still believe that Claire is so forgiving and so in love with Tiffany that it's not going to matter. But there comes to a point then, when is lying enough? Like, I believe that their friendship is going to stand the test of time. I really believe that. And so I'm appreciative and happy at the fact that Claire understands the mission. I still don't appreciate the tactics of how they're accomplishing what they want to accomplish, but it is what it is. Hopefully in the United States of America, Big Brother season 23 will have a black winner. I don't see how they could fail at this point. I really don't, because Claire is going home. And if all 6 of them can't get out Alyssa, something's wrong. Something is absolutely wrong. And I really still stand firm with believing that Tiffany is not going to make it to the end. But if she does, then I will have to give her flowers. And I will give her a rose in Cookout Diaries #2 and say that I'm shocked that she still ended up putting up Claire. I think the weight of the culture and the weight of the purpose of the cookout weighed more heavy on her than the potential loss of a friendship with Claire. And I understand that because all of America is watching you, sis. So I get that. So the culture is definitely more important to you than the potential loss of a friendship. But Claire is not going anywhere. And so that's fine. Outside of that, I think this was a very good episode. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with double eviction. And I just hope that we get a double eviction tomorrow. I believe that either Alyssa or Kylan are going to win HOH tomorrow. And I believe that the other person leaving tomorrow will be either Tiffany or Azah. If Alyssa wins, it's Tiffany or Kylan. If Kylan wins, slippery slope, it's Alyssa and a cookout member. So I'm very curious, but I think Alyssa or Kylan are going to win HOH. It's not going to be Azah. It's not going to be Big D. And obviously, Tiffany can't win it. But I think, or Chada. I'll give it to Chada. I think this will be Chada's first HOH. Or Alyssa will win or Kylan will win. That's what I feel about that. Leave your comments below and let me know what you think or what you thought about this particular episode. Deuces. I know. You're not about to think about not subscribing to aconnectiontv.com. Copyrighted.